Hi, my name is Ken Masterson. I have been asked by some of my readers to do a walkthrough of how to get data from Thryve inside over to my analysis site. Okay, so let's do it step by step. We are on the site, you have logged in. Okay, the next thing we want to do is find your actual microbiome. Okay, and that we do with the following steps. We simply go up to get status, go down and identify the sample you want to do and do a download. For example, I'll take this one. I click download. It asks you where to do it. You may want to add additional information, like for example, the sample date for it was December 6th, 2019. That now saves it to your computer system. And that's it for this site. So now we go over to the microbiome site. Click 16S Labs. You will see that there's a link here saying Thryve. Thryve was sitting there. Gives you examples of how the data file is. The data file you just download should match it if it's a recent one. These are older formats which some people used and which are still supported for historical reasons. Click choose files. And now we go over and we find the file we just downloaded, which is sitting there. You click it, it's selected down here, you click open, and then you do an upload. In this case, I'm going to not put in my own email address. I'm going to put it into the shared demo site, which you're welcome to do. Basically, it samples from one or another person, which anybody can access because the login and the password are public, and it simply allows people to anonymously share things. You most of the time it will be putting in your 06. That's 06. Just put it in your email address and then an upload address. The reason it's important to either put in your email or alternatively just make sure when you do upload a consent, you go and you click here, and there you have your login information. Copy and paste it somewhere safe so you can log back in. And in this case, here we have some other ones which people have uploaded or I've uploaded, and now we have what we have just uploaded for a demo. It's there. Now let's walk through what you probably would like to do in a logical manner. Usually the first choice I would suggest is doing a quick health analysis. Health analysis tries to estimate where you are in terms of what we can detect. You notice up the top we have the ability to change different samples if you have multiple samples. Okay, in terms of bacteria shift seeing which appears to be connected to symptoms, you're 99th percentile. In other words, you probably don't have any typical symptoms. In terms of, sorry, apologies, this is terms of medical conditions where they have reported particular types of shift associated with certain medical conditions. So it's basically, you have nothing that sticks out like a sore thumb. You have less abnormalities than 99% of people do. Symptoms health is based on people who have answered symptoms with the microbiome, which allows us to do citizen science analysis. And with that one, you are not quite as high up. You may have one or two symptoms, whatever. Down below, we have Jason's suggested ranges, and you can see you have a whole bunch of things which are not ideal, a few things which are ideal. Those are things you may end up wanting to take action on. And then down below we have items which are potential things you need to be concerned about. Lactobacillus is technically can be a pathogen in some cases. It's not in other cases. These are things which are potential things. Some cases the numbers are pretty low. The numbers are per million, so it's not particularly of concerning. We have more information from an earlier walkthrough I've done here. Okay, so generally, in this case, you're looking pretty healthy. And now we go over and we got several ways of doing it from here. We can go in and enter your symptoms, which we have under each one of these buttons, additional symptoms. For example, you could go in and put in your age. You could put in, whatever other symptoms you have. I'll put in underneath asymptomatic. That's correct there. I just click update. That information now goes in a database, and it's used to try to discern patterns in the microbiome. And there's a whole bunch of something like 300 different symptoms, and I've attempted to organize them in a reasonable manner. We now may want to go back and say, okay, what do you suggest I do? Quick suggestions. Basically uses Jason's recommendations only. And from that, it says, okay, these are things you probably should be taking. Some items may or may not be easy to do. Some items, for example, if you have celiac conditions, wheat doesn't work. These are suggestions knowing nothing about your existing medical issues. This is strictly on things which is known to alter the microbiome. We also have things which we are suggesting to avoid. We have probiotics mixtures with positive impact. With mixed impact, that is some of the strains of bacteria in the probiotic may actually cause things to go in the wrong direction. Hence, it's a mix one. Some will go in the right direction, some will be pushed in the wrong direction. Then we have no impact. Sometimes we have an avoid list here. We now have flavonoid foods, which indicates things you should be eating, or flavonoid like resveratrol, vitamin D3, strongly recommended. So that is basically it. We can now go on and you can do other things. End products, metabolites, etc. can be very helpful. What it does is it compares against published literature in terms of conditions and see where your value is. And as you can see, you are very low, or you have no matches with chronic fatigue syndrome. You can go up here and look at acne. We also have a low value. What we can do actually, once we select something, is just press down arrow. Oops. Sorry. Some pages you can get away with that. Again, see what your variety of values are. In this case, most of the values are pretty good. Okay, and then we can go on, and what you find later on is you find end products, how much you produce of particular things estimated. For example, how much vitamin B7 do you produce? And you can see here you are about 22 percentile, so you're a bit less than the average person. You may want to supplement, or we could go to vitamin B12, and you see your value just about dead middle. You probably don't need to do any B12 supplements. Methane, your value is here, so you're a little bit on the high side, but if you don't have a problem with soluble, etc., then it's probably not worth doing anything on. You can go through all of the other items here, which is pretty long list. And the bottom is for uBiome stuff, which is no longer available. And you can see how you compare against other people in terms of the number of bacteria detected. I'll pick Thryve here, and I'm here, there, so I am there. I can flip it over to actual values. So what it means is I have about 750 bacteria reported. The most ever seen in somebody from Thryve is 1,300. Some people only have 100 or 200. So do you have a good example? In this case, you are better than about 80% of people. So you have a good sample. Okay, back again, flipping through quickly. We can try looking at probable symptoms, which sees whether or not you can get any matches. And we have a single match, which is sensitivity to vibration. And, oops, okay, somewhere in there, there was a abnormality where probably in here, you find the people who are sensitive have high normal range in these particular thing, and the result is they are sensitive to vibrations. Okay, this particular series of tables are auto-generated so that if the last time somebody had come in, it found something statistically significant, it would log it to the database and show it. Next time you come in, it will recalculate everything, and the result is sensitive items may disappear because they are no longer as sensitive, or they are some other aspect of the data. So it's dynamically changing, and besides, that's the wrong one. That should have been Thryve. Okay, and with Thryve, we have right there the Fingoldi. We see a little exploding mark here, which indicates that we have a match with a pattern. People sensitive to vibration tend to be high levels of that, and we have high levels of that. And it is suggesting there's a chance you may have that symptom. Again, it's suggesting, it's not deterministic. It just indicates an increased probability. Okay, there are tons and tons of other things. You can go over to the chrono chart if you want to get yourself lost. This represents what you have in it, and you can go in and explore and take a look at things and where things are broken down. It is nice because it shows the hierarchy of bacteria as a chart. However, we do have other ways of doing with it. We can go back here and we can take a look at my Biome View, which goes and shows all the bacteria you have with their hierarchy, and shows where your relatively ranking is. Do you have a high value or do you have a low value? But not only do you have a higher value or low value, how many samples do we have? As you can see, we have usually about 900 samples. Here you have a high value, but only seeing 7 samples. So it's a rare bacteria. Is it a significant bacteria? Do we know much about it? Again, just go over to the name, click it, open up a new one, and you find out what we know about it, and we find that it's practically nothing. We can go over and see if other data sources have it, like DataPunk, and it describes it, and that's about it. Doesn't identify any particular illnesses or conditions or symptoms. And as you can see, by nothing but blank things, it's probably a recently discovered bacteria which we know very little about. You have some, congratulations, but we don't know that much. A lot of it is we are discovering more bacteria faster than we can figure out what they are actually doing. And we're going to go on down and see where you are. So almost everything here is green, which is good. We have one case of a high where a fair number of people have done a report. And we have the option of doing a click box, which allows you to hand pick which bacteria you want to modify. Here we have another one, which we definitely have a high number of. We have more of those, so we just go and click those. And here we have another one where we have a high number and lots of samples. Again, a bunch of these we don't have many samples are, and you can go through and cut hand pick. Once you're finished going through all of them, remember in this case we have 800 different bacteria listed. You can now go back up to the top. If you don't fall asleep first, and then create a custom profile for it. Now suddenly we have a bunch of gold buttons showing up here. You can see what bacteria you picked, the values, and you give some information. Oh, and just makes it clear what you're working with. And now you can go over to Handpicked Suggestions, and it will only work on those particular bacteria which you selected. And it works by looking at things that will decrease high values and will increase low values. So it basically attempts to find the perfect combination of food, herbs, spices, whatever. And you go and you select what you want. You can say, okay, I want amino acids, I want flavonoids, I want food, herbs and spices, sugar, minerals, etc. So I want those. I want a bigger list rather than a short list. The lists are ranked order, so if you do a small number, you get a small number, only the things at the top. And you can choose to include or exclude probiotic mixtures. Up top here we have 3 choices. And why we have these 3 choices is, take something like grapeseed extract. There will be studies showing that it helps a specific bacteria. It could be at a genus level. It could be at a different level of the hierarchy. These allows us to say, okay, it helps Lactobacillus reuteri, but we don't have any information about Lactobacillus for it. It allows you to say, okay, we're going to allow you to make inferences that the parent, that is the group of bacteria which it belongs to, we can make use of the reference for that. So we can assume the reference also apply to the next level up or the next level down. And the last one is by association, which only comes into a small number of cases. And that happens when we literally have nothing in the literature of how to modify something. But we can make inferences by looking at our database and say, hey, wait a minute, it just goes up, that goes up. So we really want to encourage Tom to go up so that Harry will go up as a side effect. So it's this type of inferences. You can click here to get the more detail, and just click Show Suggestions. It'll go and compute all of the things, going through currently about 1 million different bits of information, specify things you should be doing, rosemary, melatonin, etc., items to stop, probiotic mixtures, and the higher the number, usually the better it is for positive impact, because it means that it is impacting more of the different types of bacteria. Lower numbers implies that it impacts fewer of the bacteria. And then we have mixed impact. Again, you got take and avoid. So it's impacting 104 in a positive way, 24 in a negative way. ballpark is about a 79. So you could make a judgment call, but usually don't use anything in the mixed impact if you have something in positive impact. Positive impact, there's no known downside. So those are the ones you really want to be taking. And then down at the bottom, negative impact, if you've been taking those things and doctor has asked you to take those things, you may want to go and discuss it with the doctor about stopping them. And then things which have no impact, if you're taking them, keep taking them. We do not know that it will cause any harm. Again, we have down the bottom all sorts of things. Before you notice the apple shows up again, and vitamins, and now we hit things like flavonoids, and we'll tell you what food contains those. Okay, I'm going to shut up since I've talked too much, but that should get going with a Thryve samples, doing an upload and the processing and getting some results. Lots of videos on Thryve. Again, if you have questions, feel free to ask. And that's it.